Welcome to UB Local Impact, Global Reach. I'm Jim Ranney. Coming up, we'll talk with new UB President Dr. Satish Tripathi about his goals and his vision for the university. But first, here's a history lesson on the University at Buffalo.
In the mid-19th century, Buffalo, New York was a growing frontier town. Commerce on the Canal Harbor was booming. Banks, schools, and factories were built, and the city was taking shape. But civic leaders realized that for Buffalo to flourish, it would need an institution of higher learning. In 1846, the University of Buffalo was established, with the School of Medicine as its first division. Millard Fillmore was chancellor, and students learned from prominent physicians who were innovators in their field. Over the decades, the small private university evolved to meet the needs of an expanding city. UB purchased land on Main Street to build a central campus for a comprehensive university with a full range of programs in the arts, sciences, humanities, and professions. Buffalo citizens donated funds to make the campus a reality, and famous local architect E.B. Green designed a master plan. By 1962, the university had more than 11,000 students and ambitions to expand once again. UB leaders saw the potential of new state resources under Governor Nelson Rockefeller, and UB joined the State University of New York system. In the 1970s, construction began on a second campus, 1,200 acres in the suburb of Amherst. In the 40 years since, UB has grown in size and stature. It is a member of the Association of American Universities, a recognition of its scholarly activities and research that totals more than $350 million a year. UB is also one of the most internationalized campuses in the nation, with a growing Division I athletics program. In September 2011, the university inaugurated its 15th president, Satish K. Tripathi, a native of India and the first foreign-born president in UB's history.
We are rightfully proud of the impact we have made and the stature we have gained. Yet we cannot stop here. We must seek out new problems to solve, new horizons to explore, and new ways to change the world for the better.
Dr. Tripathi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
In your inaugural address, you talked about UB's institutional journey. Tell us about your journey and what brought you from India to the university.
It's a long journey. I grew up in a small village in India. I wanted to be a high school principal, and as I went to this university and studied further, I decided that I really need to learn a lot more. That brought me to North America. And then from there, once I finished my PhD, I started to like the research as well as teaching, and I joined University of Maryland, where I spent about 19 years. And I was department chair. I enjoyed doing research. I enjoyed doing teaching. I went to University of California for about 7 years, and then opportunity came here at UB for a provost position. And I came here, I looked at the institution, I liked what I saw, and I thought I could make a difference. So that's when I came to UB.
And you've been here for how many years now?
So now I've been here for 7 years. I came in 2004.
In terms of your background in education, you said you wanted to be a high school principal, so you've thought about education. It's been your career goal for a long time.
It has been. It's, as we call in our family, it's a family business. My grandfather and his father, they were all teachers. My father was a teacher. I'm a teacher, and my son is a teacher. So really, it's something that education was valued a lot. Education was something that we always thought could get you to the next level. And so when I was growing up, I always thought that I'll learn and give it back.
How do you think that background has prepared you for this job?
The background, that I've gone through, from being a university assistant professor to associate to full professor to department chair to dean to provost, now as a president, has given me a very good background to think about higher education from different perspectives. From a perspective of a student who actually went to public school all along, from a perspective of faculty member, from perspective of a parent as well, my both sons going to the education and so on. So it has really prepared me to look at the higher education, its impact in the society, its impact in terms of the economic development. And so all of that really has prepared me to contribute some.
And here you are at UB as president, the 15th president. It's hard to believe, I think, that in 165 years, the university has only had 15 presidents. Do you think about that, the role that you will play here?
It is really hard to believe that there have been only 14 presidents before me in 160 some odd years. But the universities, if you look at nationally, that's kind of the average tenure have been in the past. Okay. They're no longer long tenures now.
How has UB's mission, do you think, changed? Not just in the time that you've been here, but longer than that, over the decades?
If you look at nationally, the public higher educations have been changing a lot. The Dole-By Act in the early 1980s gave the universities authority to really take the intellectual property and do economic development. If you look at the society, the percentage of high school graduates that are going to the universities is growing continuously. So there's a lot more appetite for higher education. And there's a lot more expectations from higher education in terms of economic development. So higher education as such has changed a lot on one side. On the other side, the support for public higher education from the state has been going down. So there have been really change in terms of the support coming in, which means higher education really has to, and University at Buffalo has to really look at resources elsewhere. And so the philanthropy has become one of the major source of support that university gets right now.
Yeah, lots of challenges.
Lots of challenges.
Very good. Well, also lots of momentum in a number of ways at the University of Buffalo. Let's take a look.
The University at Buffalo is taking some major steps forward to enhance the student experience. Under the UB 2020 plan, the university is hiring more world-class faculty in all disciplines and making big changes to its physical landscape.
The comprehensive physical plan that we've developed over the last 4 years and are now implementing establishes a vision of who we are going forward into the 21st century.
A $291 million project is underway on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, a partnership between UB and Kaleida Health. This collaboration is designed to spur new medical discoveries and make Buffalo a major healthcare destination.
I think we've done a very novel thing for the state of New York, where we brought a private organization, Kaleida, and we brought SUNY School, UB, to come together to put clinical services and scientists together in one facility, one building.
On the Amherst campus, the new Barbara and Jack Davis Hall is a hub of innovation and learning for the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences.
I'm proud and honored to be associated with this University of Buffalo and having something to do with this research center.
Greiner Hall is the first residence hall built in almost 40 years and is dedicated to UB's 13th president, William Greiner.
They have classrooms on the bottom floors, and they also have counseling centers, so it gives them the opportunity to develop more as a student, but yet still be part of an enormous community.
On the Main Street campus, the university is investing millions of dollars in historic buildings, creating new homes for many academic programs, and enhancing the original beauty of the campus. And 2 campus child care centers have been renovated and expanded, offering more services to parents who work or learn at UB. The master plan embodies the UB 2020 vision for excellence and growth. As provost, Satish Tripathi was one of its key architects and helped secure support from the governor and state legislature.
The new legislation, SUNY 2020 bill that was passed, gives us some freedoms that we didn't have in the past and gives us the opportunity to plan over a 5-year period what our budget will be.
Attention has focused recently on our plans for a truly remarkable opportunity.
The biggest project, with the potential to transform UB and the region, is moving the medical school back to downtown Buffalo. More than nostalgia, UB sees the move as a way to create a natural synergy between the university and the researchers and doctors at its hospital partners.
So our goals are to increase the number of faculty by 100 over the next few years. And the process of constructing the new school and building it, we estimate will create about 3,000 new jobs, and in the end bring about 3,000 or 4,000 additional people to the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus.
A historic gift of $40 million from a medical school alumnus will allow UB to fill the new school with some of the best faculty to teach and do research.
With top experts from around the globe teaching and mentoring UB medical students, we ensure that our graduates, for generations to come, are prepared to deliver the very best healthcare in Western New York.
His intent is to make us one of the greatest public research institutions in the country and perhaps the world, and I think we've got great leadership to help us get there.
Dr. Tripathi, there's been great momentum, great growth at University at Buffalo over the years. Where does the university go next, in your opinion?
My vision for UB is very ambitious, yet it is very simple. What we want to do is to improve UB's ranking among the public research universities across the country. This we can do by having great faculty, retaining them, hiring new faculty, as well as recruiting and providing great education to our students.
You talk about new faculty and growing the faculty. How much? How many more faculty would you like to see?
In the next 5 years, we want to recruit additional 300 faculty. That provides us really a student-faculty ratio which is comparable with our peer institutions. So the students can get the classes they want, they can study in smaller sections, and they can graduate on time.
Would this faculty be throughout the university, or are you looking at specific areas?
This is across the university. The 300 faculty would be across the university in all disciplines, from medical sciences to law to arts and sciences to other professional schools.
The $40 million anonymous gift that the university recently received, is that what some of that funding will go towards?
To hire some of the faculty in the medical school. As you know, the $40 million came from one of our graduates who was so grateful for the education that he received at UB in the late 40s. And this money goes into recruiting top faculty in the medical school.
Does more faculty necessarily mean more students?
No. What we want to do is really maintain the number of students we have right now. We have approximately between 28 to 29,000 students, which is a very good size institution. What we want to do is the right side of the institution. Before we grow the number of students, we want to make sure that we have enough faculty so we can provide the excellent education, but we also can provide time for the faculty to do scholarship and research.
What about the type of student? Do you see any changes there in the type of students that the university hopes to attract?
We want to attract a lot more students from Buffalo Public Schools. This is one of the things that we have been working on for the last few years, collaborating with the Buffalo Public Schools. We recently had a grant from National Science Foundation, which is a joint grant with the Buffalo State, UB, the Museum of Science, as well as the Oshai Foundation, and we want to make sure that we attract the local students as well. In addition, we want to be attracting a lot more students from out of state within the U.S. We are pretty much focused on New York and maybe some of the surrounding states and international students, but we really want to be fully national university.
What will it take to do that, do you think? I know you're talking about this new faculty and building the momentum.
Sure.
Is that what's needed to attract outside folks?
Definitely, excellence attracts the students. When they see the quality of education, when they see the researchers and the faculty that are here, they're attracted to come to UB. So that's in the right direction.
There's been a lot of physical changes too on campus, all of the campuses, but perhaps the biggest is the move of the medical campus to the downtown area, where it all began. What impact do you think that move, the moving of the campus downtown, will have on the city itself?
Right. You're right. There are a lot of changes on all three campuses. We have new buildings on the North Campus, a new dorm. Griner Hall came up recently. We have a lot of activity on the Main Street South Campus, many new building coming in, as well as the buildings we are renovating. The major thing in the next 5 years is going to be moving the medical school downtown. And you're perfectly right, this is where all it began, and we're coming close to there. The multiple things that it really changes. One is for us to be next to our partners, the hospital, the Roswell Park Cancer Institute, the HWI, all the researchers and clinicians and the hospitals being together. Our students can get better education. But think about the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus and think about the city. The number of students, faculty, and employees that would every day come to Buffalo, and some of them would stay right there. The economic impact it has, the quality of healthcare improves, and it really attracts patients from out of area. The kind of healthcare destination that it creates, that has a lot of different impact. If you think a city of Pittsburgh, Cleveland, you can think about St. Louis, all of those cities have really shown that this kind of combination can create the economic development.
It brings that mass downtown.
Exactly, and with the mass comes the business, and with the business, revitalization of the city takes place.
We should also acknowledge that among the changes is the sale of the university radio station, WBFO, to WNED, and that's in the process now. How will that, do you think, perhaps allow the university to focus on mission?
Well, the university's mission is education, research, and service. And our radio station has provided that kind of mission, but Buffalo has 2 public radio stations. And I think it's good for us to give it to professionals who can run the radio station, but also the sale that money comes in, that would be invested in the scholarship, faculty, and students. So that's really how we see it.
Do you think, as you look at the university and its 3 campuses, how important is it that those campuses each have, in some way, their own identity?
Well, in some sense, they do have identity where they are, but they're all part of UB. So they have the identity of location, the programs that there might be, but I view all 3 campuses as really part of UB.
Well, UB certainly has had an impact on this region economically and socially, and in ways you might not expect. Here's more on that.
The University at Buffalo is engaged in the Western New York community in many visible ways. With athletics programs, special events, and cultural arts, thousands of people visit the campus every year. But the university's impact on the local and global community is even deeper through its research and educational mission.
Have you ever had your teeth cleaned before?
It is an access to care program, so it's for those children that do not have a dentist, do not have health insurance, do not have transportation.
Through its students, faculty, and staff, UB shares its expertise beyond the campus.
Together we have formed a regional coalition, a teacher-focused initiative aimed at changing how science is taught in our local public schools.
The focus of UB research extends around the world, documenting vanishing languages in Africa, studying how countries like Haiti can be more resilient to earthquakes, and investigating diseases like Parkinson's.
I think that we're at the cusp of major discoveries in terms of why people get the disease and then how this might translate to a cure.
By attracting top researchers, the university believes it will generate new ideas and great discoveries that can boost the local economy and solve the global problems of our 21st century.
2008 National Medal of Technology and Innovation to Dr. Esther Sans Takeuchi, University at Buffalo, the State University of New York.
UB scientist Esther Takeuchi is recognized as having more patents than any other woman in America. She left a successful career at Great Batch to study innovative battery technologies at the university. And the UB Group TCIE connects UB resources with local companies to help them improve their bottom line.
We've got a lot of success stories here over the last 6 or 7 years. It's millions of dollars of savings and a lot happier customers.
Researchers also study important social issues that have a national and international impact.
Our mission at the Alberti Center is to identify, research, and disseminate information to practitioners about bullying, abuse, prevention, and intervention.
The university is involved in many partnerships that improve the quality of life in Western New York and support organizations important to Buffalo.
I asked Ralph, what message did you want to deliver today? And he said, tell them you're the most important player on our team. You guys, the doctors.
The success of any community is often measured by its economy. What role do you think UB plays in developing the Buffalo Niagara economy?
UB is a major research university that plays, in my opinion, a great role in terms of the economy of Buffalo. In fact, if it doesn't, it should play a major role in the economy of Buffalo. You can measure the economy in multiple ways. Number one, if you think about the students that it attracts from out of area and the kind of money they spend here, that's a major economic impact. Number two, the number of employees it has, which again impacts the economy. But the research and the scholarship that comes out of UB, that creates other kinds of economic impact in terms of creating new jobs, in terms of the quality of life of the region. If you think about the arts and the culturals and so on, and what UB contributes to that, that's another aspect of thinking about the economy. We have, with the Center of Excellence here in downtown, we have created more than 1,000 jobs in the last 6 years. And that's really another aspect of the economic development.
You have another hat that you wear. You're co-chair of the Governor's Regional Economic Development Council. What role do you see yourself as also the president of UB playing with this group?
I'm really honored to be a co-chair with Howard Zemsky on this economic council. And I see this economic councils that have been created across the state as a major development to create a cohesive and a sort of concentrated effort for each of these regions to think about economic development. There are 21 institutions of higher education in the Western New York. Collectively, the higher education plays a very, very major role. And if you think about each of the economic councils, they all have a university higher education president and somebody from the private sector. So the governor has figured it out that higher education is going to play a major role in the economic development.
You mentioned the other higher areas of higher education in Western New York and the number of colleges and universities we have here, both public and private. What's your relationship, the university's relationship with those other institutions?
We have very good relationship. In fact, there's a consortium of all the higher educations. We meet together and we also try to make a case for Western New York to be destination for higher education. And we also talking to each other in terms of efficiency. How can we collaborate with each other? So there's a very strong relationship among the higher education institutions here.
You mentioned earlier the relationship with public schools in Buffalo here, and obviously the hospitals with the medical campus. Where else is UB kind of reaching into the community, perhaps in areas that we don't always think about?
Well, UB actually is. There's so many connections to the Western New York community. I can't really tell you, and I don't know all of them even if I wanted to. But you think about arts and cultures and music, there's a very strong tie there. Of course, the healthcare. In fact, we have combined the two. We have healthcare, we have arts program in some of the hospitals. UB is working on that. You think about the pre-K through 12 and the seamless pipeline, we're working on that, economic development. And in general, the well-being of the Western New York, I think if there's something going on, UB is involved in that.
You're the largest research institute in this area, and you happen to be obviously in a binational region. Is UB looking at Canada and you know, it's your location here on the border as a way to, you know, build on the programs?
Definitely. Actually, about 3 years ago, I met with the provost when I was provost, I met from the provost from Toronto, and then we formed an organization called TRUN, where the research institutions across both sides of the border, about 6 or 7 institutions in Ontario and 6 and 7 in New York, we work together and in making sure that our research program coordination happens. We have a strong relationship with the Brock University just across the border. So there are a lot of relationships in terms of research, but also thinking about innovative ways of doing education.
UB has a huge international student population. How do you think that, first of all, happened, and is there a great deal of interest in growing that part of the student body as well?
So I can't take credit for that. This has been happening for a long time. In fact, if you go to the first class of the medical students in 1846, there was a Canadian student in that class. So this international presence really has been for a very long time for UB. I think we value the globalization. In fact, our students learn a lot from there as well because we have students from outside. And if you think about the 21st century graduate coming out of institution with, you know, ready to work, they have to have exposure in terms of international education as well as maybe study abroad. And we want to focus on those aspects quite a bit. In terms of number of students, I don't think we're going to increase the number right now because overall we are not increasing the number of students on the campus.
What needs to happen next for UB to move forward, to take that next step in building its reputation and building the faculty?
I think we have defined a couple of things. We need to have the medical school built downtown. We're going to hire 300 new faculty members, and we're going to be able to raise money for faculty endowed chairs as well as the student scholarship money. What we lack are really not enough money for students so they can work, they can study full time and don't have to work. And so we have an ambitious plan to raise 100 endowed chairs and $200 million scholarship money for students. That's what we're going to do in the next few years.
That's quite a challenge. Give us a thumbnail sketch. Where do you see the university, let's say 10 years from now?
I'm actually looking at the university 20 years from now. You know, think about future and see what were the right things done right now so that the university is much better institution, has a lot more impact on the Western New York and internationally and nationally as well. And for that, we need to continue to recruit the top faculty, continue to have better education for our students, and attract the best students that we can. And that's what we'll be doing.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Dr. Tripathi, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It is clear that the University at Buffalo is a big part of the fabric of Western New York. As one of the area's largest employers, what happens there does have an impact on our region. And the research performed at the university truly has a global impact. For WNED, I'm Jim Ranney. Thanks for watching.